twice. You got to push go live, and then it'll ask you, what do you want to go live about? And so you put in all the information, and then you say, okay. And I always have the temptation to think that when I push okay, that I'm going live streaming, but no, that's the setup. And then you got to push start live stream after that. So thank you for reminding me. Okay, let's go and talk about what happened. So the first thing I want to talk about is FOMC. This is I can't even remember what that stands for. FOMC. Federal Open Market Committee. Okay, so this is the body of legislators that figure out what they're going to do with the Federal Reserve. Okay, so again, private corporation gets to print money on its own, however it wants, charges 6% back to the government. They get together every once in a while and they decide what they're going to do with interest rates. And whenever they come together and they figure out what they're going to do, there's always an impact that it has on the market, and it's always an intended impact. So let's zoom out for just a second. Let's zoom out on Bitcoin. This will be good. So zooming out on Bitcoin, we can see, look at how the highs are getting higher and the lows are pretty much staying there. So we've got an expanding wedge. Key supports. So we've got, yeah, so we can see here, look at this line here. This line is the average 50, right? So I have 50 days, or because this is on the daily chart. Each bar is 1 day. This line right here, that's 50 days average. So we've been staying above the 50-day average for quite some time. And look at that. Bing! Literally just touching it right there. It's hilarious. So weekly right now, that support is what we're looking at next. Even if it goes down further. So let's say, for instance, we go on a 200 chart. Okay, so 200 is a very common chart. What we're doing there is we're simply saying, okay, I am custom signal line. There we go. So here's 50. I'm going to change this to 200, and you'll see when I do that how much different the line is. Look at that. That 200 line is actually at the election. And believe it or not, even if the price comes down to the 200 line, we are not out of the bull run. The 200 line is kind of like your outside edge of the trend. So the average of the average price of the last 200 days is really just at the election level. So even if we have a retracement that comes back all the way to here, we have not broken the bullish structure of the market. That's crazy. So what we're seeing right now is just a natural progression to what happened. Powell has basically delayed the money printer, is what he's done. I think what they did was that they put down, so the data that they put up, they cut the rates by 0.25. So this is not expected. They're going to pause all rate cuts in early 2025. So they're not going to reduce the rates anymore. Now, what is the importance of rates? So when investment rates go up, it attracts international investment. So money coming in from other sources. When they drop the rates, that goes down because now international investors aren't going to get as much money from they're not going to get as many returns. But of course, what that does is that it makes it where inflation needs to go up because interest rates are going down, which means there's less liquidity coming in, means that they got to come up with the currency somehow to inject into the economy. And so then they usually print. But what they're saying here is that they're basically saying we're going to slow down the quantitative easing strategy, which they started implementing that in 2008 after the housing crisis. They called it quantitative easing, where okay, so we're dropping the rates to protect the consumer, but we need to quantitative easing, fancy way of saying we got to run the printers on overtime in order to make sure that we keep the money coming in, the right amount of currency issued into the economy in order to combat the fact that we don't have this as much investments coming in. So inflation will go up. Okay. In fact, they have their dumbest projections ever. They call it 2%. So 2% inflation was what their target was, but it's at 2.75%. We know it's a lot higher than that, but this is again the numbers that they use. The unemployment is I think still fairly stable. Like it's not like spiking up or anything like that. But again, one of the reasons why employment managed to stay fairly consistent over the last few years was because of the increase of jobs in the public sector, which is another drain on the economy because it requires what? More currency to pay these people. And the only way they can get that currency is how? Through taxation. So it's not a pretty picture. So Powell, he now is saying that he wants to delay the recession. So he's not saying things are good, but we can delay this. Historically, though, this kind of move, especially in this time, because they need to have money coming in from other sources other than taxation, they're not going to survive. So this, to me, I look at this as an attack against America. This is an economic attack against America. So by this meeting that occurred, the FOMC, this is exasperating the problems. Okay. So because it's exasperating the problems, we have a shift in the market. But here's the point that I'm trying to make. These announcements that get put out, they are accurate only in the fact that the people who are managing portfolios, whether it's a massive wealth manager that has $50 million or if it's the little guy that has 500. When this kind of news comes out, everybody is conditioned and trained to believe that this is bad. And so then we start seeing money come out of those things and it starts going back into bank accounts. Okay. So that's what happens. People get, oh my goodness, things are getting scary. Look, Bitcoin dropped, right? Bitcoin, it was peaked out there at 109, 1083. So it peaked out at 1083 and dropped all the way down to 98.1. So more than 10 grand in a matter of 4 days, right? So everybody's panicking right now. Why? Oh, it makes sense. Look, the economy's terrible. We just got confirmation from Powell. Does that make sense? That's what's happening. So what's going on? What's going on with this money printer anyways? Because if they don't print to combat the inflation, if they don't print it, make sure that there's money supply, it's going to exacerbate the problem further. So the Fed is reducing its balance sheet, but this cannot last because the debt crisis that the U.S. is in, just the fact that they've got so much debt service to pay, they have to pay the interest. This won't last. If they're cutting down the quantitative easing, they're not injecting as much money into the market, then things are going to get worse if they don't do something, which normally they would just raise the interest rates. But again, they're not going to do that. They want to exacerbate the problem because they want this to go down. They want people to react certain ways. And so then they produce the news that makes people act that way. This is how the markets work. So, yeah, so it's gone down. So assets, asset sales, so that's basically the US Treasuries, they've gone down from $60 billion a month issuing those to $25 billion a month. So that quantitative easing is really cut back. Next, okay, so they're saying that they're not going to start quantitative easing again until inflation drops further. Once inflation stabilizes for the Fed and adjusts its target, the money printer will come back on. But here's the thing. If you have low interest rates, your inflation goes up because you have to print more money in order to inject it into the economy so that you don't have a runaway on it. Because the last thing they want is to see a deflationary period where that's kind of like the big reset that happens to the entire system. They don't want to have that. Timing's bad. That's something they can do maybe when there's a cyber attack. They'll do something like that. So, in short, we've got Bitcoin, Ethereum, the big ones. They are going to be experiencing this probably over the next day or two. So if you've been thinking about getting some more, now is definitely the time. However, we're going to see some volatility in the altcoins as a result as well, because, well, yeah, look what happened to ADA, right? ADA is my all-time favorite. It dropped all the way into the pivot point that I highlighted on the Telegram there. That's the previous all-time, the 2024 high. That's the previous high for 2024. And it dipped right back down, right to where it was before. And I remember saying this. I wish I would have kept my squiggly line so that I could show you. But I remember saying that this would happen shortly after we broke that level. I said, well, that level there, we broke past it. Wherever we go, the likelihood of it coming back to find support at the previous high, that's really good. That's a good probability. Oh, and look at that. Now I get a little bubble. So that probability actually occurred. And now look at that. Look at how it just bing literally touches that same line right there. So yeah, and it's bounced. It's on sale. Exactly. And so that's why I backed the truck up last night. As soon as I saw that, I was just like, oh, we're going to do it right now. And I can tell you right now that it could still very well come down further. Okay. Because we actually have 2 points here. There's this point here and this point here that falls within this pivot line, or this pivot point. This pivot point goes back a long ways, really long ways, because you can see here it bounces, here it bounces. So these two spots here, between these two, there's a lot of volume that gets traded. You can see, let's go back further. There it was there as well, right? This is 2018. So this is a common area for this asset. And all we're seeing now is the big pump, the first big pump, and then that big drop. What did we say? 30 to 40%. Look at that. 41% drop from the all-time, or from this 2024 high to find support where we were prior to in 2024. This is perfect. Textbook trade setup. It's beautiful. So let's move on. I want to talk about the crypto 30 just because we can see this in playing out in a little bit more. There's another one that I want to get here, and that is the market cap for the crypto market cap. There we go. Total market cap excluding Bitcoin and Ethereum. Okay, so this is taking all of the cryptos and removing the market cap from Bitcoin and Ethereum. And that gives us an idea of what the alts are doing. Okay, so let's go back. Look at how we are literally bumping up against that all-time high right now. Oh boy. If there was a way that I could just take, we went through this whole COVID-19 operation, and so now this might be a little bit out of taste. But I mean, I wish that I could take a syringe and like take it out of my blood and just give it to everybody how exciting this is. And so they could feel it. Because this here, that's the all-time high. That's back in 2021. And we're butting up against the all-time high market cap. You know what? Arguably, we just made a new one. We just made a new one. Let me zoom in a little bit more here. Yep. Let's bring it right to the top there. Going to call this all-time high. Now we've got that labeled. And look at that. We beat it. So here, all this time, people are freaking out and they don't even realize they just made a new all-time high and we're just seeing a retracement. This happens all the time. This happens all the time. I can go to any chart. I can show you USD CAD. So check this out. We talk about how this happens too, right? Well, every time it was creating a new high, right? Bump, retracement coming up. Didn't make a new high, but it's still retraced, right? It goes up and down. Like that's what it does. It goes up and down like this. And now we're up. This is the US dollar against the Canadian dollar. We're going to see it drop again. And probably because of the effect that this has, this meeting has, this FOMC meeting, the effect that news has on the US market will affect the Canadian dollar, and we'll start to see this drop again because that's how the markets move. So if we're having this thing happen now where market cap, crypto cap, there we go. So this altcoin chart here is really just doing exactly what markets are supposed to do. Created a whole new high, never been this high before, never had this market cap in this much market cap in altcoins before, and then it dropped 26%. Very normal. Very, very normal. So great place we're at right now. I've got the reason why I'm kind of going on about it is because there were like 2-3 days of a lot of negativity. We've got the small group here that shows up in the mornings, but then I've got other people that I'm texting and coordinating with because they can't be here. And a lot of them are scared. They're like, well, I didn't know it was going to do this. Yeah, no, I told you that it might do this. So again, remember, that's one thing. But if you're investing more than you're willing to lose, you shouldn't be doing this anyways. And 3, we're just in a pullback. Like the market is just doing its thing that it does all the time. Ethereum dropping down, bouncing right back off of just like what happened here. Let's go into the 2-hour chart so we can see. Look at that. Within the last 6 hours, it's bounced up from that low, going up. It's right now 3. Oh, it was for a second there 3333. Back up 7% from that low. Like this is and look at how it lined up perfectly with this little area here. Ethereum ready to take off. This was exactly what we needed. ADA dipping into that pivot zone, finding the support at the old 2024 all-time high. Solana, same thing. Look at that, touched back. This is why I like to keep my drawings up because it gives us a reference point. Look at that. Bing! Rings it like a bell, bouncing off of that previous high. Again, this here would have been the 2024 high. And then we had this election, right? And then ever since then, coming back down. Oh, look, we found a nice little support here. Solana, injective token, falling deeper into that pivot zone. But it's the same price action, dipping down, hitting this pivot zone. It's beautiful. Modic, same thing. Look at that. There's the pivot zone starting way back here. Bing! Just ringing that bell saying, I'm on sale, come and get me. 3 protocol. You know what's crazy? I really want to do this now. And maybe this is what we'll do first thing next week. Monday, maybe. Monday, I do like to go through the charts because the weekend usually brings up some sort of news event or something. But 3 Protocol, I'm actually thinking about signing up for this. They now allow Canadians to get their prepaid Visa. So you can get your Visa, load it up with cryptos, and swipe that Visa, and it just takes it out of your cryptos without any KYC. So you don't have to submit any personally identifiable information to get this nice little card. And now they didn't offer this in Canada before. Now they do. So I'm interested. I'm definitely interested to see how it works. And if it works well, that will definitely improve the price. Again, we're just seeing this drop because, I mean, already down here, things were, people were still didn't have a lot of security, right? So it makes sense that this is going to go down even more because this is this is a layer 2 altcoin, right? Still the same idea though. I'm quite leveraged right now. I'm good. I don't want to go into too many more L2 coins at the moment. I want to kind of prop up my altcoin collection a little bit more. Woo, look at that. Finding again support, this major area here where there's lots of price action, lots of volume accumulating in this area here, and so, trade volume. And so here we are. Bing. Fetch. A little bit deeper. But look at that. Finding the support there. We have definitely broken out of this trend here, this trend line, and that is normal. In fact, you know what? There's actually a strategy. It would be good for you guys to check this out. Wycliffe strategy. I think that's what it is. Yeah. So Wycliffe strategy, it actually, oh, this is a Wycliffe trading strategy. Let's go with that. Oh, Wyckoff. That's what it is. Wycoff. Definitely. Oh, no. Wyckoff. This here, price action analysis using the Wyckoff trading method. So what this is it analyzes consolidation zones. And in the analysis of the consolidation zone, you are looking for the big movement. Where is it going to leave consolidation? And so the theory is that when there is a price change between oversold and overbought, this distribution area, there's accumulation area here where the price is low, and then distribution is when it gets, and now it starts to get overbought, meaning that now people have to start selling in order for the price to correct itself. So this is where this is the foundation of this. So in the accumulation stage, we'll see the price go up and down and find some resistance and support outside of that range. And what we're looking for is the indicator that we're going to actually break out of that range. And so typically speaking, we see it occur in a major push beyond resistance. Okay. So that's the premise. So when we see things like this, and we can see that there's this, there, like, look at that, all kinds of price action. And then there's this little price action here. Well, that's finding the resistance, right? This is the range. This would be the range. Let's mark it. This would be the range because that's where all that price action occurs, bounces around, finds support, goes underneath, finds support here, finds resistance at the top. But this here is kind of that, wow, breaking out, finding new support. So we've broken out of that range and found a new support, and then we broke out going up, right? Now here it's coming back down and retesting that old resistance. So in the Wyckoff theory, what this line is would be like if the Wyckoff theory applies to trends as well. So you can have a channel where the price just goes up and up and up inside that channel. You can still have that deviance coming back out, basically testing where is resistance. There's the consolidation zone. Where's the resistance? So the consolidation zone occurred here. And let's go like this, I think. Yeah, basically like this. And so I'm drawing this line as off of these highs here, and I'm bringing them through, basically intersecting this area where there was this movement. So this breakout here was coming out of that channel, testing a new resistance, and then dropping. Okay. So now what we are seeing overall, what we're seeing is a breakout of that pivot zone finding support. So in Wyckoff's theory, this right here is the indicator that we're blasting off, because this here is the channel of consolidation that we're referencing. So this here was a breakout, dropped back down, dropped away quite a ways. This is fetch. Yeah, 47%. Beautiful. It's like, just in case you were thinking about buying it back in here, just in case you missed the opportunity, the universe says, I got your back. That's the basic pattern of a Wyckoff strategy. Destra, beautifully coming back down, finding this support. Remember, this was the high throughout 2024 as well, right here. And then breaks out, and we're finding support back at that previous resistance. 0 by 0, same thing. It's just beautiful. Textbook. Love it. Ooh, look at that, how that one happened. Just consolidation, bang, up in here, and then bang, back down again, but it won't go down lower than that.
What's that one, Paul?
This is IOS. I don't have anything in this right now, but I am watching it only because when we take a look at CoinMarketCap, we actually see IOS as a very good performing coin. And if I end up getting another bunch and I want to go into a layer 2, this would be it. 1.03 billion, major AI infrastructure coin. Again, I've got lots of AI coins, and so it's not a priority for me, but I am going to watch this one because this one stood the test of time, went through the dark night of the soul like the rest of cryptos, and then has been showing new highs ever since. So this one here is going to perform very well for 2 reasons. Number one, lots of money's in there, and there's not a whole there's a good saturation as well. So the investors aren't going to be holding the bag if there's a big fallout on the other side of the bubble. So it gives it a lot more stability, perceived stability. That's IOS.
Thanks.
Anyone. This is another one similar to what is anyone again? If I remember correctly, this one's another. Oh yeah, this is another AI protocol. It's going to be plugged into gaming. Smaller market cap, 139. So this one here has a lot more potential for increasing its market cap, which would drive the price up. That's attractive as well. You know, whenever we see these ones here, there's typically a larger distribution between, a larger distance between low price and high price, simply because it's a smaller market cap. You know, something that's already at $1 billion, yeah, sure, it could go to 10 billion, but the likelihood of it doing that is a lot lower. Just simply because it takes a lot less, it takes less work. Honestly, it takes less work to take something to $1 billion than it does to take something from $1 billion onwards. It takes a lot of skill, a lot of business acumen. There's going to be a lot of fallouts as a result of this bubble. Keep in mind, right? Because $100 million can turn into $1 billion. That's a 10x. But if the market bubble pops, or the bubble pops on the other side of that, and they're not ready for it, they're not going to have anything at the end. ARK actually coming down below my first entry point there. I do have a second entry here, and we're just about at that level. Yeah, it's hilarious too, because it's like, you know, I could look at the balances and be like, oh my gosh, look at that. You know, I went from 18,000 down to 12,000. What should I do? No, I'm in exactly where I'm supposed to be. And these things are normal. These are very, very normal things to have happen. We're in a good position. You haven't lost anything yet because we're still up from where we started. WorldCoin dipping down. We can see that. Remember, we had that wedge pattern, broke out of that, right? This was at the beginning of December, broke out of that pattern, but then zipped back down again to find some support. This support here, yeah, that's it right there. Look at that, beautiful. Neural, not as much of a movement. Although, actually, I shouldn't say that. Yeah, nope, that is a 40% movement. It just didn't look like that much because it's also up 800% since July. 800% since July.
And Neural is what kind of a?
Neural is another AI infrastructure. Yeah. And I definitely am kicking myself for not getting this one. Look at this market cap down at 111 million, so smaller market cap, ranked 405th overall of the coins. So in a sweet spot. And yeah, I just didn't know as much about it back then, but there you have it. You know, from July to now, it's 8x'd. And we haven't even really, like, we've just started the first little hump of the bubble. Like, let's go back to Bitcoin here. I'll show you what it looks like. This is how I like to compare things, right? Because Bitcoin's kind of like that gold standard. So this thing here, this little thing, that was 2017 when everybody freaked out when it just about, when it went to 20 grand. Freaked out. Right? That's the big 2017. Oh my God, this is what cryptos are. And look at how much it paled in comparison to the 2021 bubble. So just imagine what this bubble will make these look like, right? Well, now let's zoom in further though, because there is something you need to see here. In the sequence of a bubble, okay, you can compare this movement here, this early 2017 movement, to what we experienced all 2024, right? But then here in June and in October, right? We basically just finished doing June. Okay, this little bit here is what we just finished doing after the election. Because if we go over and we look at zoom in, there's November 4th. Look at what this looks how this looks in perspective. This little here, this little bit is the equivalent of back in 2020 or 2017. It's the equivalent of this little mountain right here. We just got going. We just got started. We're going to have this here. Well, I should actually probably say this one here. This would be where we are right now. So this here, we're going to see a couple more movements up, dip, a couple movements up. Just little tiny dips in there. You see them? Those dips, I remember those things. They were like 2 grand in a day. Like, so that happened. And so, oh no, that was like only $200. Well, I remember there being like super dips in here and people freaking out. But I guess, yeah, $5,000, $2,000 actually is quite a bit. So yeah, we are basically just done this little bit here. We're starting to come back up in here. So this is the start of what we're going to be experiencing right now. We just finished this little thing. I hope that clears things up. Happened again, by the way. Same thing happened again in the 2021 cycle. Yeah. So this was the little bump before things. Everything just kind of went, oh, it propped itself up. Basically, everybody's sitting at the table and they all just kind of sit up. Now they're ready to pay attention. And then from there, blows up. And then it even went down, stayed down like this for a little while, and then made a whole nother high. We can expect this. That double high happened over in 2017 as well. See, just happened in a very short period. Down, high, retrace, and another pulse. Probably going to see something like this, a double top. That is very, very common in bull runs. So we've just got started. What we're seeing here on the screen, all of this is like the precursor to what we saw in 2017. We're just getting started. So yeah. I don't know where I was going with that, but I wanted to show you guys comparatively, if we follow the pattern, we are exactly where we're supposed to be. I couldn't be more happy with the price drop. So Beam, this was another one that I'm recommending for people. Large market cap, doing very well. Newer project with lots of funding. So, you know, Beam is another good one. I've been telling people for altcoins. You know, I got one of the members down south in Alberta. He was asking me, he's like, "Whoa, what do I get? What's something I can get other than XRP and ADA and Doge?" And I was like, "Well, Beam is looking up to be pretty good because it's a huge market cap, very new project. Like, look, it only just started in November of 2023, so it's only been around for just over a year. This chart is like startup mode with $1 billion market cap. This is gonna go berserk for sure. And yeah, I got a little bit of Beam because I couldn't resist. PAL, look at that, coming right back to our little average area over here. FAR, this one has a different pattern. This one is showing a little bit more stability, I would say, because it didn't whiplash back all the way down to, you know, say 2024 highs, right? IMX, beautiful retracement coming back, sitting at $1.23, 24 cents. Super, another great one, because here is where I bought. I'm getting all excited. I bought right here. Yes, I should have sold here with an 86% growth, because then I could rebuy with 43% more in the bag. But honestly, I don't have time to watch the screens all the time. And so I'm okay with the price being where I started. And knowing that this is a major point of, look at how much support there's been here for a long time. This goes back all the way to the October. Oh, yeah, that's right. I'm on the daily chart now. Yeah. So this point here has had support in the past going back. This is March 2024. And then back in here, that's 2021. Superverse, clear pool, real world asset coming back, bouncing off of the price line that I bought. Seed World, another new one that I'm kind of following, newer project in position to do very well. And of course, it's wrapped in ether, so the price is a little bit different. Sundog dropping even lower. Yay. Maybe I should just for fun add a little bit to this so that I can recoup all of the lost time. That's what this is. This is lost opportunity cost. That's what this is. So this, you know, little bit that I put in here, this was my big mistake. This was my definition of an embarrassing photo of me in my naked glory covered with spaghetti as a 2-year-old. You know, you get those pictures that people make fun of you at your wedding. Yeah, that's what this is. This is an embarrassing photo. I bought all excited and it went down from there. Well, I might just go ahead and do it again, because that $100 is now a cost of lost opportunity. All this time it's been doing this. Well, we're at the base of this bubble. Memes are going to do well. this is another meme that's probably gonna go right back to where it was. Well, if I put that 100 in now, I can recoup the lost cost, the cost of the lost opportunity. I can recoup that. Whether I will or not, I don't know. But that's what can happen. Bonk, coming back to my purchase point, and non-playable coin showing a little bit more pushing downwards, finding support at 2.1 cents. Market analysis for December 20th. That means it's only 4 days till Christmas, 5 days till Christmas. I forget Christmas even exists the last 3-4 years. That's all she wrote, folks. Thank you so much for tuning in. If you would like me to analyze any assets, or if you want to learn how you can do this for yourself, if you want to join our private community where we, after these calls, typically speaking, we hang out for another hour, and you're more than welcome to be a part of that private community. If you'd like any information about that, feel free to reach out. And yeah, we'll see you tomorrow morning for market analysis on Saturday. Thanks a lot.